To another edition of Marketing Unleashed. We've got cats flying through the air. We've got backgrounds falling down. It's whatever you get here on live shows. It's going to be a fun show today. So we've got tech issues. So this is what you do when you go live. But we are here for you, and we want to make this as interactive as possible. So as we're going along today, make sure you ask your questions of Elisa, because it may be we have question and answer session today. We'll just have to see. And there's our friend Brian is in the house. Brian, it's good to see you here. It's good evening. That's correct, where you're at. And Trona, our guest from a little bit ago, is here with us. Thank you for stopping by. Go back and watch that episode if you haven't seen that. You can find that on YouTube. She did a great job. But yeah, so we're going to be talking all about Pinterest for creatives today. And if you know somebody who's creative and they're like, yeah, I'm not sure about Pinterest, make sure that you mention them down below. Call them into the conversation. It's going to be a great show. A lot of people are showing up. So good to see everybody. Rocky is here saying hello. Good to see you, my friend. Carrie is here from sunny Ontario, Canada. Very, very cool. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to say. Okay, so I made my first story pin for Tailwind yesterday, and it was quite an ordeal, and it came out. Well, Brian saw it in the feed.
Uh-oh.
The still screen that you see when it's first loading is terrible. I mean, it's like your typical still screen, and he wanted to know if I posted it so people would be curious to look through to see if I'd been into the wine.
Or sniffing your paint rooms, one of the two.
Yeah, thank you very much for my first comment on my story pin, Brian. Appreciate you.
That's hilarious. We are going to have, I think we need to have like another story pin show where we talk about, because I've been experimenting with them. Just real quick, YouTube Shorts is a big thing. It's actually in the news. They're talking about, actually they're monetizing it now for YouTube, and Shorts are like videos that are under a minute is what YouTube considers a short. And I'm finding some great success of reposting things that I've done for Shorts over on YouTube. I've been experimenting with a still kind of thumbnail for the beginning versus an animated one, seeing how those work, but they're getting some traction. So if you're creating content for YouTube, especially Shorts, think about Pinterest, because there's maybe some opportunities there for you as well. So we are waiting for Sally House still. She's had some technical issues, and I'll let you keep on top of that, Lisa. But we want to make sure that you guys know that we have some new templates right in the toolkit. So if you want to go check those out for this month, you can find those at bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit. That's bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit, all lowercase, all smashed together. So talk about these.
And you know all those things that we didn't really do for a year or more, like travel and weddings. Well, you'll find those in the toolkit, because people are starting to think about that again. Yep. At least in some areas where we're fortunate enough to have a pretty good vaccine coverage. So you're going to see those. Kira did a really beautiful job as usual. I love it when they add some kind of different elements that they're just beautiful. I think that my favorite one might be the Modern Organic Living Room pin. So if you go grab those, let me know what you think. It's really pretty.
Yeah. So check those out.
Yeah.
And
guess what? They're going to be in Tailwind Create shortly. I just got them to Tucker and the Template Factory, which is a really good name for a band. Right. But they'll be there shortly. So if you want to find them in there, you just go to, I think it's Design Type and filter by Toolkit Templates.
Yes. So Sally, I'm going to go ahead and drop this into a chat. She's still trying. She's still trying? Okay. Just want to make sure you're on top of it. But so the question about these templates, Elisa, is there a way for, let's say you missed a month, can you go back? Is there like an archive that you can get access to? I know they're all in Create, but if you wanted them a different way, how can you find those?
If you go to that same link, you're going to see every month we've ever done. So we've done it over a year. I know I skipped last June because there was too much going on. But other than that, you can get them all.
Yes. So that the month you just kind of slack off is what you try to do?
That was the month we were launching Tail and Create. So,
so that's why. There you go.
Oh,
So make
that
sure
was
you
a
guys
big
go to
month.
BI.
It was a fun month.
Oh, here Sally is. Let me make sure I can get her
good.
in. Let me do this. She's in the green room. Oh, it looks like she's ready to go. So let me get her set up here, and we'll see if we can get the show on the road. So let me pull it up here. There's Sally.
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry, my computer's not playing games. It's not got any internet, so I've come on my phone. So yeah.
Oh,
It works. That's what's amazing.
well
So
done.
yes, so we're excited to have Sally Howe here with us. So as I get everything set up, Elisa, can you go ahead and introduce our guest for today?
I can. This is Sally Howe. You might recognize her from the audience. But what you might not know about Sally is that she is a custom jewelry designer. And Sally, am I getting this right? That what you make is all from like repurposed silver and gold? So it all kind of has a history?
It's recycled. It doesn't all have a history.
Recycled.
So everything I buy is where at all possible. It's all made of reused silver and gold. So it's not freshly mined. It's fair trade gold is traceable and trackable, but I can also repurpose people's old jewelry as well, so it can be remade from like sentimental jewelry as well, so it can be designed into something new if you inherit something that you quite like.
Like grandma's teeth, because grandma had silver in her teeth. So could I?
Oh.
You know it comes from there. It's still good silver.
You can actually the gold from teeth. I haven't done that, but yeah, I do know that there are people that do, but yeah, you can.
Wow. Okay. Well, so you're here today partly because of that, but even more so because you have a popular Facebook group that helps creative business owners to grow their business. So who would be in your group? Like, what is a creative when we're talking about business?
Well, that's a really good question, actually, because I started the group because I originally was I was creative myself, and I could see that people were sort of struggling with social media, etc. So I decided that actually I would try and help them because I'd managed to find a solution that worked well. I originally found that Pinterest was a great strategy for me for my business, and so I thought I'd share a bit of that with other people that I could see were doing what I felt was frustrating with me. I was doing all the social media and all the different things, sort of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
All the things, yeah.
All the things. So in my group now, I've got all sorts of creatives. I've got photographers, I've got makers, I've got people that embroider things, I've got people that knit things, I've got ceramicists, I've got soap makers, lighting designers, environmental consultants that do forestry builds and things and advise people how they can make sustainable living, all sorts of makers and creatives. It's actually a brilliant, lovely community, actually.
So I wanted to bring up Sally's group on screen if you guys want to check that out. If you want to go to this really easy to memorize bit.ly link, bit.ly 3F3CPWI. So let me say that one more time for the podcast listeners. It's 3 lower score F as in Frank, 3 lower score C as in cool like Jeff C, and then a capital P like Pepe Le Pew, capital W like why is this so hard to read, and then an I for we're not on Instagram, we're on Pinterest. So there you go. That's what you need for the to get into
rolls off the tongue.
Yes, it just rolls it off. So I wanted to bring up something real quick because I don't want to make sure I did not misspeak. And I don't know, I may have said this, but people are like, what? Pinterest is launching Pinterest Live? No. We were talking about story pins. I don't know how we got into Pinterest Live. So I have not heard of that rumor, but maybe I'm just not in the know.
Funnily enough, I saw something come up in my feed yesterday morning saying Pinterest Live, and I followed a few people that were doing lives, and actually on my account, I actually did manage to find a live, it's a board now. So
wow. So we're breaking news that I did not know about. So Elisa, are you holding back from me? Did you know about this?
Well, here's the thing. It's on your app. So when you pull up your app, you're going to see this. And it looks like it's an event, right? So it's not like it's a new feature.
Yeah.
It's an event that's going on March 24th to 2026.
Oh.
So if you pull up, just pull up your app, you'll see it.
But it's not like a feature now that I can go live on Pinterest. It's they're doing a special event that's going to have live stuff that's going to be streamed to Pinterest.
Yep.
Looks like it.
Okay. Whew. That's where it came from. Thank you guys for letting me know, because I was getting all excited about Pinterest Live. So, I bet it comes. That's just me. They want to be on with everybody else.
We can speculate all we want, but that's what we can see right there.
Okay.
And it has some interesting topics. I signed up for one. You can get a notification. Definitely going to be interesting. And it looks like you have some of your group members here.
Yes.
Sally. Ashley's here. Cheryl Richards is here.
She's awesome. Yeah. I've got the most my group, honestly. If anybody is and you want to meet some kindred spirits, it's a fantastic. Cheryl, yes, excellent.
Shirani, maybe.
Yeah, you've got a whole fan group in here, man.
Yes. You know what I like about it too is that there's no drama. It's very nice.
I haven't even had to moderate my group so far. The tone, the atmosphere in there, everybody's really supportive. There's no such thing as a silly question. Anything goes. As far as there's a lot of people that are starting their Pinterest journey in there, and I'm happy to support them and help them along their way, because it can be quite overwhelming when you first start, can't it? I think knowing exactly what to do and what sequence to do things, it is quite complex. And I think only when I was making a course for Jewelers Academy, I realized how much knowledge I actually had gained. So actually, I think once you're starting out, you've got to imagine that you're in that position again, that it can be quite overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, well, you had said that there's no stupid questions, so I'm in your group, so that's a challenge now. So I'm going to go. And no drama, I don't know, Lisa's in there, so that could change easily. So Sally,
I'm really quite well behaved.
Yeah, for now. So Sally, I wanted to talk. So how long? I met you when I was at Janet Murray's event in London.
It was June 2 years. I think.
Yeah. So was that your first starting? Had you done Pinterest before that, or is that when you really started to concentrate on it?
That's when I really started to concentrate. Something you said, Jeff, just struck a tone with me. I'd been doing all the different things. I've been doing all the social media platforms, and hadn't really found something that I was entirely happy with, because they've all got different pluses and minuses. And something you said resonated with me about the length of the life of a pin. And I just thought, wow, that sounds like it would be quite useful. And actually, I've discovered that has been so. Not every pin gets discovered. Some pins get no likes or saves or anything, and that's just one of those things. But actually, when they do, it's incredible. It's so powerful. And actually, if you're getting visitors to your website for sort of days, weeks, months, or years, I mean, for me, that's better than any of the other platforms. And because it's visual, it's sort of, I always think it's my happy place. I go there, and it's sort of very positive and very sort of inspiring. It's like going to an art gallery or reading a magazine, or it's I just really like it, because it's quite easy for me as well. I find it really intuitive now. I think when you first start, it's probably quite complex, but actually once you get established on it, it's a platform that I can actually do with quite ease, really. I feel like it doesn't require a huge amount from me. I think it's quite sort of a nice place for me. I sort of like going to because it's inspiring.
Yeah, so our friend Ian Anderson goes, "Oh, it's Sally." So he was there at the conference with us. And I tell you what, I get a lot of joy and happiness seeing that, from just around that table and the stuff we discussed to where you are now. And people always say like, "Oh, it's too late to get started." Oh, I'm so far behind everybody else. But you started, and really took off with it. I mean, and seeing you from where you were 2 years ago to now, it's pretty cool. Go ahead. Yeah.
When we met, I'd got 9,000 monthly views, which actually isn't too bad. But I've got people in my group that are sort of around about that level, or having none at the moment. But literally, all that Pinterest requires from you is that you gradually start pinning, and it needs consistency. So if you're pinning regularly, you are seen as a creator. So actually, once you start creating, Pinterest then sees you, and your pins will get seen by more people. So it's great.
Yeah, very, very cool.
So what are you seeing in your group? I know you get all the questions. So what kind of things do you find creatives struggling with these days?
I think really it's sort of overwhelmed. Really, I think a lot of people are sort of wanting their products to be found and discovered, and they're wanting people to buy from them, which is what we all really want, isn't it? You want to be discovered and buy from you. So actually, I think that they're at that stage that they're probably where I was at, that everything is quite intensive and you want to be making, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do with my group, helping them to find a platform that will work with the balance that you get when you actually can do things like batching and scheduling, so that you can be freed to do other things. So either making or quality of life living. that's what I've managed to achieve, that I've got time to do other things now, which I didn't have before, which I've now actually returned to some of the other platforms to promote what I'm doing. But actually, I think for the social side of things like Instagram are great, but I still prefer the promotion side of things on Pinterest.
So
Really?
what do you think, like, because I know there's people who started on Pinterest at the same time that you did, and they may not have had the success that you have had now. So what do you think is the separation between the ones who succeed on Pinterest and ones who don't? Like, because there's other jewelers, people who make silversmith on Pinterest. Why do you think you have had success and maybe some of those others have fallen short?
Just focus, and consistency. So actually showing up each day, not worrying about perfection, just putting something out there each day, because actually life's not perfect, and I think you've just got to keep producing and not worrying overly. I mean, I think a lot of people are worried about what happens if I pin other people's stuff. Won't they like other people's stuff more than mine? And actually, I think if you look at it in a different way, if you promote other people's stuff, other people promote your stuff. So it's like a rising tide lifts all boats type thing. So eventually we'll all be seen more and be trusted more, because people on Pinterest are actually ready to buy. They are buying. You just need to get that know, like, and trust thing. So they get familiar with your things that they see from you. They see you putting them out more often. They come back to you. Quite a lot of people have got things like a present board. So they are actually bookmarking things to come back to when they're ready to buy. So you might not see anything for a while, but then when they're ready to buy, they will come back to the people that they've bookmarked on their boards.
So we've got a lot of comments in the chat. We got like a little side conversation going on, and Lorena says, all the entrepreneurs wearing multiple hats get overwhelmed. They try to be experts in marketing, branding, product development, all that stuff. It's a lot. How do you do that? And then Rachel says, it's so hard to be everything in your own business. And our pal Ian says, yeah, so true. I used to say, I try wearing all the hats, and I started discover that I could actually delegate. So what do you tell people, because it is a struggle, and I think a lot of creators do this, feel the same way, is that they struggle with doing everything, and they feel like they got to do this, and then they end up doing nothing. So what advice would you give those people who are struggling?
I mean, choose your platform, concentrate on it, be focused, plan your day. So you need to work out what you're going to do when. So batching is actually really, really great. So if you're sort of producing a group of pins on Canva, for example, just spend a whole morning doing it. It's much more efficient use of your time, and then put things into a scheduler. So you actually schedule things out. I mean, I've got to schedule some things out tomorrow, actually, because
right.
Yeah, it's time. Yeah,
life come up. So
yes.
So
I was just talking to somebody earlier, and if you have these big chunks of work you need to do, I actually just put mine on my Google Calendar. If I don't, at tail end, I'll be in meetings if I don't if I don't block off some time. And I think it's the same thing for everybody. Like, you have to make an appointment with yourself, put it on your calendar if you use a calendar, and then stick with it.
So Oh, I wanted to bring up this point from Rachel because this is, I think, so to the key of so many creators is like, you know, some people can't design and they need to maybe have somebody do graphic design. Other people, they run out of time, and we talked about delegating, but a lot of times, and this is from Rachel, she goes, the problem is money. I can't afford to pay anyone else to do it. And I remember feeling that exact same way when I first started. So what do you tell people who have that comment?
Yeah, I think you've got to actually get your mindset around the fact that by outsourcing certain things, like I'm not a sort of financial person, so first thing I outsourced was my accounting. Then I decided that I would outsource the photography, and you just literally have to make that investment and have that growth mindset and trust that that investment will come back to you, and it does. I think you've got to have that growth mindset, and you've got to invest in your future.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you have one. So literally focus, concentrate. And do you know what? A lot of businesses do fail. So you actually have to have that self-belief and that focus and that drive that you will keep showing up. And actually, it is hard. It's not easy to keep doing that, but you just have to do it if you want to be successful in the long run. So I'd just say, put down what you actually want to achieve, and then actually set aside for when you're going to do it and do it.
Yeah, and I think you said something earlier too, like concentrate where you're most effective. So don't feel like you have to be everywhere from the beginning, right? No. Maybe get on Pinterest and get your batching down, get your process down. And once you feel like that's comfortable and manageable, then maybe you add something else. But doing everything like just a little bit is probably going to be more discouraging than anything else.
Absolutely. When I started to actually concentrate on Pinterest, because I'd gone to the conference with Janet Murray and met Jeff, I was looking for what my one thing was going to be. And I'm in another community with Andrew and Pete, and they say concentrate 90% on your time on one thing. And then the other 10% you can use for testing other things. So I literally did the 90% of my time was Pinterest, not 90%. Because obviously I'm doing making and things, but within that,
sleeping and whatever.
But my marketing time, my budget, my allocation of me, that was where I would concentrate the majority of my efforts, and I did. And I literally pinned and didn't even go on Instagram for about a year, 18 months. I didn't go on Facebook hardly at all. And now I've gone back to going on Instagram like once a week, or a few things on stories. Mm-hmm. And actually it's still fine. And all my people are still there when I go back to talk to them. I think they've got used to me turning up a little bit more sporadically than I used to, but it's fine. I'm not growing that account so much more anymore, but my Pinterest account is now growing again. When they changed all the algorithms and everything, it went for a while like probably most people. But now I've worked out what I need to do to be creating and making story pins great for that. They're definitely good discovery tool.
So is that the biggest change you made when you noticed, okay, the numbers are going down and that made a difference?
Yeah, that's probably the single biggest thing that I've done that actually has turned my account around is just creating things that will get seen. And actually I was on the beta test of the story pins, and in the UK we actually had URL clickable links, which I was really sad when I saw story pins coming back without them, but actually I kind of got used to them now, and it doesn't bother me so much because I think they've changed the function, so it really is more inspiration now. Mm-hmm. So story pins are more for inspiration. So if you've got that sort of, you're trying to inspire people, you're trying to get people to try something new, you're trying to appeal to your ideal client, really. So it doesn't necessarily need to be just your products. You can put in a story pin. It could be something that your people might just resonate with. They might just think, oh, I like those flowers, or I like that old abbey, or whatever it is that you're putting on your story. It doesn't actually matter as long as you think your people will find it inspiring.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to bring up this from and Nidia said this that we were talking about. You had mentioned like, and I've heard this before, is like treat yourself like a client. Like that was really hard for me to get through, and you started doing the Pinterest and kind of let Instagram go. And she mentions this. She goes, we talked about employees. Tailwind has been like having an employee. I can't believe how easy it is to make Pinterest and Instagram. So thanks for that, because that tools help. I mean, they can only go so far, and it's hard. I mean, we get to scale, but taking that time like you've done and concentrating on a certain platform and still doing your creating, which you have to do to sell, to make money. But I think that's really one of the key things as well.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's really, really useful to know that actually it's possible as well. I think that a lot of creatives are sort of frustrated, and I think I see a lot of that people are just going, oh, is it really worth it? And actually that's kind of what I've wanted to share, really. It is really worth it, and keep going.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Love that. Okay. So what I've been in your group for a little while, not that long now, but I was kind of scrolling through to see what common questions came up. One of the ones I saw was, how do I write good descriptions and good titles for my pin, which I think is probably like even more important for a creative. So what do you tell them?
I usually say that you've got to try and get into the mind of your ideal client. So what is it you think that they're going to be searching for? So people are often looking for something on Pinterest because it is a search and discovery platform. So it's a visual search engine. So what you're trying to do is describe using words to support the images you've got. So really, you're trying to get inside the head of what they might use as their words. So it won't be technical or industry specific words. It'll be words that they would use in their everyday speech. So I think it's a lot more sort of dumbed down, if you like. So it would be bright, colourful cushion, or handmade clay pot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really technically advanced.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I think that people kind of get stuck in their heads when sometimes when thinking about writing descriptions and titles, it really doesn't have to be that complicated. Yes, you want to use your keywords, but like you said, it's like, think about if you were looking for this thing on Pinterest, what words might you use?
Yeah, and the other good thing is in the Pinterest search bar, you can look for the words you think they might be looking for, and then see what pops up underneath, because it's great because it's literally updated all the time with what people are actually searching for. So you can see sort of what's commonly searched for right at this moment. Really, it just pops up to the top all the things that are currently searched for most. So it's a really great use of the search bar. You can also do that on Google and see what pops up there. But there's also things like answerthepublic.com that you can use as well. But literally, you're just as many descriptive words that your customer might be searching for. So think of different ways you can describe it, and don't use the same words over and over and over. You want to vary the words as much as possible so that you're covering lots of bases. So if you're describing one pin in two different graphic images, so say it's leading to a product, you might want to use two different sorts of words in both descriptions. So you can use the same word a few times, but you want to supplement them with other additional words that are similar.
Very cool. So Bobby has this, and I pronounced her name right, Elisa. So she wants to know, can we share the link to the group again? So Sally's got a website that's really amazing. Go to howfinedesigns.com. Make sure you check that out. But here is the link to her Facebook group. It's bit.ly/3F3CPWI. All those characters together. I'm not going to try to do the long spelling again, but there you go. You guys can check that out because it is a fabulous group. So you want to make sure you pop in there if you are a creator or have interest in Pinterest. So make sure to go check that out. But Sally, I wanted to ask you, one of the things that your pin, all of them have in common is it has some really great photography. And I know photography is really a struggle for a lot of creators when they first get started. You know, they may be really, like, I'm really good at like making wooden pins, like for on the lathe, but I'm horrible at taking photos of those to try to sell. So do you have any tips for creators when they're wanting to take pictures of their products to sell on Pinterest or on Etsy or any of those things? Because I think those could go both places.
Yeah, I think always try and make sure that you've got a steady camera position. So you've actually either holding it and you're in good light, or you've got it on a tripod so it doesn't move. Natural light is the other thing that is really, really useful. I've also got an app called Camera, which is absolutely brilliant for getting like zoomed in macro type images. So Camera Plus is a great top tip for good photography for product shots. But you can also get nice backgrounds as well. So I've got some really nice backgrounds that I put my products on, which actually does sort of elevate them a bit. But I always try and edit them a little bit after I've taken the photograph, just to lift them a little bit so that it just makes them a little bit brighter.
Can you say the name of that camera app one more time?
Yeah. Plus.
Camera Plus.
Yes. It's camera and a @ sign, you know, the plus.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. So, Rachel,
Okay.
this is I think I'm gonna once again I have control. I'm gonna cut off Alyssa. Rachel asked this question, and I think this is a big thing for creatives. One thing I worry about is Pinterest being more for ideas, so people won't actually buy. They're just going to save your items and make them themselves. Maybe I'm wrong. So what do you tell creators? And this goes for photographers, I know a lot of times too. What do you say to this question?
I actually think that that's always going to be a risk, putting your work out there. But if you don't put your work out there, nobody will buy it. So I think you've just got to go with if somebody is got that mindset that they're going to try and copy something, they'll copy it off Instagram or somewhere else anyway. So I think, and if you've got something on a website, somebody could copy it. I think just keep moving forwards and keep creating. And I actually think I don't worry about that anymore. I think we're better off just focusing. I think it's that focus word again. You've just got to focus and create and worry less about what everybody else is doing. Stay in your lane.
Yeah. You know what's funny is it's almost like, okay, I talk about this quite a bit, but I like to do acrylic painting. And to me, it's like anyone could do this if they wanted to. It's really not that hard. There are free tutorials everywhere. But the thing is, not everybody's going to do it. Like, they don't want to buy the supplies. They don't want to make the mess. They don't want to spend the time. Maybe it's not interesting to them. So they might buy it because they're not going to do it. But with you, Sally, like, not everybody can make jewelry like that, you know? So there are some where I think there's less risk, but even with something that everyone technically could do, they're just not all going to.
I absolutely agree with that. And actually, there's no such thing as brand new ideas for everything you create. Often you create something and then you see something completely independently that has also been created and is very similar. And there's no such thing as absolutely brand new ideas for everything. I'm pretty sure everything has been done pretty much. So actually, just keep creating, keep moving forwards, and worry less about being copied. I know that people do, but you're the original, you're the authentic, you're the one that people buy into what you're creating for who you are and your values as much as anything else as well. So I think you should keep showing up as authentic, genuine and real, and people will be much more likely to want to buy from you rather than from the next person that's doing something similar. So I think just be yourself and keep creating and worry less.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about the story pins is that it makes it a little bit more about you as the creator, your product as well. But this is going to help people really kind of form an attachment to you as the one who brings this idea and that product to them. So I think that, creators and story pins go together really well.
I think story pins are still really to be explored, and I think they've got so much more potential than I've used them for, certainly. And I've got loads of ideas about what I can do, but obviously you're limited for time in any one day of what you can do, and there's time constraints for sort of making and things as well. But the ideas in my head are buzzing at the moment, so I'm really an ideas person, so I think that I find them quite exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a great question over from YouTube, from Jura. Did I say that right? Or you want to pronounce? I'll just have them come up and let Elisa pronounce them, so she makes fun of the way I do it all the time. Would you say that's Jura from YouTube?
I think that's a good guess.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put you on the spot every time now. So how much time do you spend on marketing, and how much time do you spend on creating? Because, you know, a lot of people say, you know, you need to, you know, do it way more on one side than the other. So what would you tell Jura here?
Overall, in a week, I probably spend 2 days on making and 3 days on marketing, image creation, packaging, promotion, self-development, all that sort of thing. So literally 2 days of solid making and 3 days of everything else. But
wow.
I've already said that I tend to sort of batch things. So I've got 2 hours here, 3 hours there, 1 hour here, half an hour of this. So it's quite a schedule now. I've managed to get much more organized.
That's very cool. So Rachel asked this question when we were talking about the images. Do you think videos are better than stills, or do they seem to be on Instagram? Because I'd love to have you talk about, I know you went through the video pins course too. What are your thoughts on video? I know story pins is one thing, video pins is another. What are your thoughts on video?
Absolutely brilliant as well. And I've noticed that video pins between 6 or 5 and 15 seconds are probably the optimal at the moment. I've noticed in my account. Other accounts might be different, depends who your audience are, but I think sort of snackable bites definitely are working better for me. And I've noticed that video pins are quite popular. Actually, it's in my mind that is where I want to start focusing more as well. But obviously I'm working quite hard with a lot of other things at the minute, lots of things going on. But yeah, definitely video pins worth doing.
So, what would you take video of? Would you take pictures of your process?
Yeah, definitely. I've got loads and loads of ideas of the behind the scenes things about to come up as well. So that's probably this autumn.
Fun.
Very cool. So, Ian asked this question because some people may not know this. So I'll let both of you guys explain story pins. Can you use video in story pins? He says, sorry if that's a silly question. There's no silly questions from Ian Anderson Gray. So
yeah, video is great in story pins. Literally, you can have a page which is a video. So you can have between 1 and 20 pages, I think it is, in a story pin. And a video is a great intro into a video pin, because into a story pin, because it starts moving straight away and it captures somebody's attention. So I think bit of movement at the beginning is a great draw into a story pin, definitely. The other good thing about story pin is the notes section. I can't remember what it's details it's called, isn't it? The details. I really like the notes one. There's ones for menus and things, but I think for creatives, the notes section is absolutely fantastic, because this is how you're going to try and inspire somebody. And you're not meant to put any URLs or anything on them. So don't try doing that, because I think that you're going to get in trouble for that with Pinterest, because they do not want you to add links. But I think you are great to be adding any sort of thing that people might, because people could save them.
Right.
Yeah. So, I was just so Pinterest has a weekly creators meetup, and I just went to one today, and it was really good. And they shared a couple of story pin examples that were fantastic. A lot of video, but ones they showed did something that I'm going to steal, which is you know how you at the end of a story pin you automatically see that kind of, here's the creator's account and here's the information. It's easy to follow, but they've actually added in an additional final page that's like, the one that I really liked is very cute. Now, see if I can find the link and share it here. It was like a mock-up of their account on Pinterest, and I was like, follow me, and it was just very cute and colorful, and like, we know how well calls to action work, so I think adding one of those would be great too.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
I saw some people who say, like in their story pins, like follow, they'll say it like this last slide too, is like, follow me. They'll put a call to action. It's not a URL, but they'll say, follow my website on my profile for, more of this or something like that. So I've seen some interesting ones. And Ian, you came in late, no judgment, but we talked about this at the beginning of the show about how, that a lot of the stuff like I've seen that I've used on YouTube Shorts that I've been putting over onto to story pins that have worked. So I know you create a lot of Instagram content, Instagram story content. So I would see maybe if some of that could be repurposed into story pins. And I think I need to like take away Elisa's permissions for the comments, because I'm seeing she's making some judgmenty things in there. So we'll have to stop. She's not paying attention to when people are speaking. So
I am. I was sharing some examples of pins that people shared. Whoa, let me.
What is that? My goodness.
Whoa.
Elisa, she's like either lives at an airport or a dog, rescue shelter, because it's either one or the other. It's now she's got to be muted so I can say whatever I want. So let's see some other things. Go ahead.
Well, the airport is not far from here, and the Army, I think it is, has permission to just do like all their training out of there.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes it'll be jet after jet. You can't hear yourself think. It's quite interesting.
Oh, she must have another one. So let me ask, so like other than Pinterest, what is as a creator, what has helped you succeed the most? I mean, are you doing an email list too? I mean, other than Pinterest, how are you connecting like with your clients?
I'm only new on the email list thing, so I'm literally just about. I've sent out some emails to the people that have joined my Facebook for Creatives group, but I'm literally still new on that. But I think the important thing that I've done is actually surrounding myself with people that are supportive and who understand the journey I'm on. So actually joining groups that there are people doing something similar, that people will understand you, because I think often when you've got friends that just don't get what you're trying to do, they're lovely friends, but they're just not really on the same journey. So I think joining groups with people that can support you and help you, and actually sort of kindred spirits, if you like, that again you can ask questions to. And I've actually been on a mastermind program as well, which was actually really, really great for my self-development. So I think anything like that you can do. Joining groups that actually have got a similar mission to what you're trying to achieve is also something that I would recommend, obviously with my group. But that's what I'm trying to do with supporting people on their journey.
Yeah, and that's why we love you guys in our comment section as well. Most people, except for people with Elisa in their name, but we really, I mean, seriously, it's fun every week coming and connecting with all of you. And seriously, Sally's group is amazing, so make sure you do go to that bit.ly link we have on the screen there, because it is a nice group. And Pinterest is nice because even just the subject of Pinterest is there's really a lot of creatives over there, not a lot of judgment, and so the Facebook group is kind of the same way. So very, very awesome.
And I will say that Jeff and I and Ian Anderson Gray, who's in the comments, were in a mastermind together. And I feel like we were all in similar places in our journey at the time, but we all had strengths in different areas. And it was just so nice, like you said, to go from being kind of out here in the middle of nowhere all by yourself to meet people who had the similar struggles and who maybe had overcome them, maybe hadn't, but had some ideas. Super important.
Yeah, I would say the thing that has boosted me more than anything is those masterminds that I've been a part of. There's one that I've still meet with every week. I've done it for over 5 years with these guys. And then I have another one, which Ian is a part of, that we meet on Tuesdays. It's been amazing. So that has probably changed my business more than anything, regardless of platform or whatever. It's, I'm in East Texas and there aren't a lot of people who do what I do here. And so it's great to have that growth mindset, which Sally mentioned, which is super important.
Yeah. I want to go back to a question that I think we covered well, but I think there's a little part of it we could talk about, which is, what's the difference between a pin that people look at and save versus one that motivates people to buy? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's useful to actually have a call to action in that sort of pin, because if you want to get somebody to buy, I think you've got to actually put that into their mind in a way that is what they can do. So I think try and make it easy for them to do that. So having a pin with a call to action on it, and even an arrow, is sometimes quite useful. I think it's worth testing what is working, but I've certainly found when I've done a promotion on something that actually having like an arrow, order yours now, or just some, I mean, people actually do need leading to the result that you're looking for sometimes, and it's definitely worth testing whether that works for your audience as well. So sort of try and make things do two different pins that one might have that on and one might have something else, so that it's not got the call to action. But call to actions are quite useful when you actually do want something to do something specific. Also, the other good thing that I found is actually blog posts are really working quite well for me on my website, because if you can get somebody onto your website and you're actually helping them, so you're giving them some advice with a problem that they might have, then you're seen as a trusted source of information and help. And then you can have a call to action once you've got them onto your website, you've given them some help, and then your product might be linked to, or you might take them to another blog, which is also good for reducing your bounce rate as well, because Pinterest does have quite a high bounce rate, because people are often just sort of clicking through quite quickly to look. So if you can keep them on your website for a bit longer, it might encourage them to come back to you, and you can also retarget them as well.
That's a great point. So cool. I have a question, and I think a lot of creators started this way. This was a hobby that they did, and then it grew to a point they're like, maybe I could do this full time. So I want to know, when did you have the mindset to pull the trigger and like, this is what I'm going to do, this is my job? Was there a certain number of sales that you said you're going to meet, or was it just like, I'm just going to do it?
Yeah, it was more that I'm just going to do it. It wasn't revenue driven. It was literally, I sort of gradually let things go. So I was working part-time. So when I originally started out, I was doing it as a very part-time gig. And then gradually I've sort of reduced what I was doing. I was teaching at the time, and I sort of dropped down to sort of evening classes and things. And then I've only recently quit that. So
awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So what other questions? Let's see. Oh, so here's a question from Maria says, do you keep customers coming back using any email campaigns? Or you mentioned you were just starting to do that. That's kind of on your list.
I haven't done yet, but I'm definitely, that's on my agenda, definitely. And I've got bigger plans for my email list as well. I've got a tech VA who's doing things with me now at the moment. So yeah, it's all happening. I was talking to her earlier today. So yeah, outsourcing tech VA is really useful for creatives.
So what is your process like? Okay, they see your pin on Pinterest, they click to buy. Are you using shopping cart? I mean, are you taking them to a landing page and then explaining what the product is, and there's a buy button on the page, or is it directly to the shopping cart? How's the process or the funnel for when people want to buy your things?
And I literally have pictures which are linked back with my URL. So any pin I make has got a product URL or a blog URL. I sometimes send people to Instagram, but not so often, because it's not my primary site for sale. I think Pinterest is much more successful for me. I never found I did make sales on Instagram, and I do make sales on Instagram, but not anywhere near as many. I think I decided that actually Pinterest was better platform for me in terms of sales, and Instagram for relationships. So actually I think people do come over from one to the other, but I think if you always have your URL on your pin, then even if as long as, yeah, basically it's a dynamic pin that prices go up, your prices go up on your pin as well. So that's as long as you claim the website.
So for your back end, are you using like WooCommerce, Shopify? What are you using for that?
Shopify. So you've claimed any website, it should pull through all the information for you, including the price updates, etc. If you put your prices up. So yeah.
Very cool.
So you're going to share a couple of successful pins with us, Sally.
I thought she can't on her phone though. Is the problem?
On my. Yeah.
she's on her phone, so she can't. So, but I think you dropped some of the links, so we'll make sure that we put some links to Sally's pins inside of the comments right here. We have some more questions that I think I want to ask real quick. Do you have any specific blog post? Do you have a specific blog post for every product, or is it just like blogs are separate from your products?
Yeah, blogs are separate from my products, but usually there's some sort of link. So it might be that you're talking about necklace sizes, or it might be that you're talking about how to clean your jewelry for jewelers. But if you've got another product, just find something that you can help people with when they're making a decision about it, and help them with that. And then at the bottom, you can link through to a product that you want to promote, or you can I think that's probably the best way. I mean, if you've got products that you want to write about in a bit more detail, than a blog post for it would be fine. If you've got a small catalogue list, then you might find that actually writing a blog post is a really great way of getting people to actually understand your product and follow through with the sale. So yeah.
Very cool. On that note, and this is from Lena, do you have any tips with retargeting ads? Do you do any advertising on Pinterest or Facebook or anything like that?
Literally at the moment I haven't done retargeting, but I definitely have got big plans to do that, because I think it could be absolutely awesome getting people on your list, and then you've got them on your land and you can sell them, which is definitely what I've got plans to do. But where was I?
Like ads, do you do Pinterest ads or Facebook ads or anything like that?
I have been doing some Pinterest ads over the last probably 6 months when I can afford them. I've put the Pinterest ads out, and actually they are actually really good. I'm very happy with them. So I think
very cool.
Worth testing.
Yeah, I think they're worth testing too. I think there's some really cool stuff you can do with Pinterest ads. So, and I think it's getting better. Their ad product is getting better each time. So
I leave it up to Pinterest to choose your audience, or you can actually go in and you can go into minute detail about who you're targeting. So it's actually really useful. I'm still testing that sort of thing, but yeah, I'm really happy with them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are moving some of their Facebook budget over to Pinterest because of the whole iOS 14 thing. And Pinterest has some enhanced match they can do that allow you to do a little bit more than maybe you can on other platforms. Yeah, they work really well.
So I saw that you dropped this in the link, Elisa, but I'm going to pull up Sally's, because we're kind of getting towards the end here. I want to bring up her contact some more. This is for her group, but can you pull up and share your screen of some of her pins? You had dropped those in there, Elisa. Can you do that? And we'll show some of those and have Sally talk about those. But you can go to Sally's Facebook group at bit.ly /3F3CPWI. But you can also find her in a little easier to remember place called howfinedesigns.com. So howfinedesigns.com, as you can check her out there as well. So make sure you do
Pinterest
that.
username is howfinedesigns, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up, are you ready for me to bring up your screen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Ba-boom. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, let me see here. Why isn't it working? Let me see. Oh, so many. It's the tech stuff
to share? Maybe I need to share.
Yeah, you need to share your screen.
Right. Well, I am. It says stop sharing, so I am sharing.
Don't do that. I want to see if I can get it up here. So let me see. Why isn't it? Let me solo it. That's weird. Go to my camera. Let me go to solo. Still didn't work. Okay, I'll figure this out in a second. Let me see here. Share screen. What is going on? Let me try this.
I'm looking at the one. What would your word be? So you did a custom
really
word ring. That's beautiful.
Well, yeah. Let me see if I can get it up. You can describe it with what it looks like, Elisa, while I try. Okay, let me see here. What is going on?
I say anybody that wants to have a look, you can literally go onto Pinterest and go at How Fine Designs and look at my pins. There's loads of story pins at the top, and then if you look at the created, there's loads of pins that are just my products and my blogs, and lots of random things on the saved as well that I promote other people's pins from within my group often, actually, because there's some awesome product makers and creators in there. So I like to support them.
Oh, I could get lost in here. Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to stop sharing.
We go. Well, don't. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I almost got it. But all right. So we're at the end of our show anyway. Sorry about that. We had a little tech issues today, and so everything's kind of discombobulated. So anyway, do not forget to go to Sally's Facebook group, bit.ly/3F3CPWI, and also check her out at howfinedesigns.com. And do not forget our awesome brand new, as this week, was it this week you did the new create?
Oh, it was half an hour ago.
Okay, so today, these are that fresh. So if you want to check out the new Tailwind designs, go to bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit, all lowercase, all smashed together. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. As always, you guys, let's see, you got some new fans. I think you got some more people inside of your group today, Sally. Let's see, Lorena is loving it, or she's going, what am I doing? That's probably the symbol of what is Jeff doing. She goes, thanks, yeah. Sally. Yeah, a lot of people. Thank you, Cheryl, for coming today. Thank you, Ian, for stopping by. He was so excited to see another person from across the pond on the show. We need to get Ian on the show sometime to talk about his stuff. He'd be fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. We would not be able to do this without you. Well, make sure you go. We weren't able to bring up Sally's pins, but we got some dropped inside of the comments. Make sure you guys go check those out. Thank you guys once again for everything. Elisa, as always, let you have the last word.
Yeah. So last word is that Clubhouse is now on Android. So I'm curious how many people are going to want to go over and check that out. I've been kind of slacking over there. I don't know about you. Are you a Clubhouse user, Sally?
I am, but I don't go on it very much. I've been on there a few times. There've been some quite good rooms actually, but it's not my main platform. I'll go occasionally, especially if I hear somebody that I know is on there. I'll go and listen and support them. But I've got loads of lovely comments from people.
That's awesome. The funny now look, they've even renamed the show. We're not even. It's thanks Sally and Friends. So now we are just friends. It's gonna have to retitle the show. They love Sally so much.
That's how we know it was a great guest. Yeah.
Yes. So Sally has left the building, but guys, yes, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate all you guys, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.